Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A personal relation in which one is indebted for a service or favor. A written promise to repay a debt. The social force that binds you to the courses of action demanded by that force. Every right implies a responsibility. Every opportunity, an obligation. Every possession, a duty. A legal agreement specifying a payment or action and the penalty for failure to comply. The state of being obligated to do or pay something. He is under an obligation to finish the job. A personal relation in which one is indebted for a service or favor. An obligation to pay money to another party. A written promise to repay a debt. A written promise to repay a debt. The social force that binds you to the courses of action demanded by that force. We must instill a sense of duty in our children. A government tax on imports or exports. Work that you are obliged to perform for moral or legal reasons. A form of trustworthiness. The trait of being answerable to someone for something or being responsible for one's conduct. He holds a position of great responsibility. The social force that binds you to the courses of action demanded by that force. Every right implies a responsibility. Every opportunity, an obligation. Every possession, a duty. The proper sphere or extent of your activities. A relation between persons. A relation between persons. Writing that provides information, especially information of an official nature. Computer science. A computer file that contains text, and possibly formatting instructions, using 7-bit ASCII characters. Anything serving as a representation of a person's thinking by means of symbolic marks. A written account of ownership or obligation. Record in detail. The parents documented every step of their child's development. Support or supply with references. Can you document your claims? Control exerted, actively or passively, by group action. A legal document summarizing the agreement between parties. Indicate through a symbol, formula, etc. The territory occupied by a nation. A politically organized body of people under a single government. The state has elected a new president. Chemistry. The three traditional states of matter are solids, fixed shape and volume, and liquids, fixed volume and shaped by the container, and gases, filling the container. The solid state of water is called ice. The territory occupied by one of the constituent administrative districts of a nation. His state is in the deep south. Put before. The federal department in the United States that sets and maintains foreign policies. Express in words. State your opinion. A state of depression or agitation. He was in such a state you just couldn't reason with him. The group of people comprising the government of a sovereign state. The state has lowered its income tax. The way something is with respect to its main attributes. The current state of knowledge. Stick to firmly. Criminal law. Money that must be forfeited by the bondsman if an accused person fails to appear in court for trial. A $10,000 bond was furnished by an alderman. A certificate of debt, usually interest-bearing or discounted, that is issued by a government or corporation in order to raise money. The issuer is required to pay a fixed sum annually until maturity and then a fixed sum to repay the principal. A superior quality of strong durable white writing paper, originally made for printing documents. Create social or emotional ties. The grandparents want to bond with the child. A restraint that confines or restricts freedom, especially something used to tie down or restrain a prisoner. Bring together in a common cause or emotion. The property of sticking together, as of glue and wood, or the joining of surfaces of different composition. A connection based on kinship or marriage or common interest. Their friendship constitutes a powerful bond between them. United States civil rights leader who was elected to the legislature in Georgia but was barred from taking his seat because he opposed the Vietnam War, born 1940. British secret operative 007 in novels by Ian Fleming. A connection that fastens things together. An electrical force linking atoms. Issue bonds on. A certificate of debt, usually interest-bearing or discounted, that is issued by a government or corporation in order to raise money. The issuer is required to pay a fixed sum annually until maturity and then a fixed sum to repay the principal. A highly liquid debt instrument with maturities of less than 3 months. Being 100 more than 300. A digitally encoded recording on an optical disc that is smaller than a phonograph record, played back by a laser. A soft bluish-white ductile malleable toxic bivalent metallic element, occurs in association with zinc ores. A debt instrument issued by a bank, usually pays interest. The basic unit of luminous intensity adopted under the System A International DO nights, equal to 1/60th of the luminous intensity per square centimeter of a black body radiating at the temperature of 2046 degrees Kelvin. A debt instrument issued by a bank, usually pays interest. An insurance policy covering loss of movable property, e.g. jewelry, regardless of its location. A wanderer who has no established residence or visible means of support. Spots before the eyes caused by opaque cell fragments in the vitreous humor and lens. Floaters seem to drift through the field of vision. A debt instrument with a variable interest rate tied to some other interest rate, e.g. the rate paid by T-bills. An employee who is reassigned from job to job as needed. An object that floats or is capable of floating. A swimmer who floats in the water. A voter who votes illegally at different polling places in the same election. A piece of paper money, especially one issued by a central bank. He peeled off 5 1,000 zloty notes. A notation representing the pitch and duration of a musical sound. The singer held the note too long. A short personal letter. A promise to pay a specified amount on demand or at a certain time. I had to co-sign his note at the bank. Make mention of. They noted that it was a fine day to go sailing. Observe with care or pay close attention to. Take note of this chemical reaction. High status importance owing to marked superiority. Make a written note of. She noted everything the teacher said that morning. A comment or instruction, usually added. His notes were appended at the end of the article. Notice or perceive. She noted that someone was following her. A brief written record. He made a note of the appointment. A characteristic emotional quality. It ended on a sour note. A tone of voice that shows what the speaker is feeling. There was a note of uncertainty in his voice. A promise to pay a specified amount on demand or at a certain time. A promise to pay a specified amount on demand or at a certain time. A mood that expresses an intention to influence the listener's behavior. Relating to verbs in the imperative mood. Requiring attention or action. As nuclear weapons proliferate, preventing war becomes imperative. Some duty that is essential and urgent. The term during which some position is held. A duty that is incumbent upon you. The office of an incumbent. A specific piece of work required to be done as a duty or for a specific fee. Estimates of the city's loss on that job ranged as high as $1 million. A crime, especially a robbery. The gang pulled off a bank job in St. Louis. Invest at a risk. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. Arranged for contracted work to be done by others. A state of difficulty that needs to be resolved. It is always a job to contact him. A book in the Old Testament containing Job's pleas to God about his afflictions and God's reply. A damaging piece of work. Dry rot did the job of destroying the barn. A Jewish hero in the Old Testament who maintained his faith in God in spite of afflictions that tested him. An object worked on. A result produced by working. He held the job in his left hand and worked on it with his right. Any long-suffering person who withstands affliction without despairing. A workplace. As in the expression, on the job. Computer science. A program application that may consist of several steps but is a single logical unit. Profit privately from public office and official business. The performance of a piece of work. She did an outstanding job as Ophelia. The responsibility to do something. It is their job to print the truth. Work occasionally. As a student, I jobbed during the semester breaks. The responsibility of a guardian or keeper. He left his car in my keeping. The act of retaining something. Conformity or harmony. His behavior was not in keeping with the occasion. Acts which the law requires be done or forborne. The supposed responsibility of the white race to provide care for their non-white subjects. Anything indispensable. Allow farmers to buy their requirements under favorable conditions. Something that is required in advance. Required activity. The requirements of his work affected his health. The responsibility of a guardian or keeper. Claim as due or just. The bank demanded payment of the loan. Required activity. There were many demands on his time. Require is useful, just, or proper. This position demands a lot of personal sacrifice. A condition requiring relief. There is a demand for jobs. An urgent or peremptory request. His demands for attention were unceasing. Ask to be informed of. I demand an explanation. Lay legal claim to. Request urgently and forcefully. The victim's family is demanding compensation. Summon to court. The ability and desire to purchase goods and services. The automobile reduced the demand for buggy whips. The act of demanding. The kidnapper's exorbitant demands for money. Duty of a child to its parents.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.